Alright guys, so in today's video I'm going to do a demo and review of the Revv G20, this little tube amplifier right here. And this is an amazing amplifier that combines like old school tube tone with a lot of modern technology, and it's pretty crazy. But before I do the actual review of the amplifier, I have to tell you a crazy story about something that happened to me back in 2020, and it sort of explains how I got this amplifier. Okay, so this was sort of in the middle of 2020, and there I was just minding my own business. I was working on videos and trying to get my Japanese Dreamcast to work, just normal things. When all of a sudden, I started getting a bunch of emails from companies, and they were saying things like, hey, did you send us an email asking for us to send you something? Because we got this really strange email and it says it's from you, but it just seems a little weird. So I was pretty surprised by all this, but I replied to all these emails from these companies and saying, no, I did not contact you. I don't know who this person is, but it's not me. And to make a long story short, it turned out that there was some guy up in Canada who was randomly contacting all these companies, pretending to be me, and then trying to get them to send him free gear. At the time it was going on, actually, Glenn Fricker from Spectrasound Studios did a video about it and, just the trouble I was having with it. And it did eventually get resolved. The guy just sort of gave up after a while, and as far as I know, I was able to get a hold of all of the companies that the guy had contacted and kind of get things straightened out with him. Fortunately for me, the guy wrote some of the worst business emails I've ever seen in my life. I think he misspelled number at one point. Okay, so now why am I telling you this whole story now? Well, one of the companies that the guy contacted was REVV Amplification. And they were one of the first ones to email me, telling me that they thought something weird was going on. So despite the crazy situation that this, crazy guy up in Canada created, I now have a pretty good relationship with REVV Amplification, and thus I now have this beautiful Revv G20 amp to check out. So now this review is going to be extra special because not only am I going to review the Revv G20, but I have something really special here. I'm also going to review the Revv FM20, which is the Fake Max 20 amplifier. And I don't have any idea how this is going to sound, to be totally honest. I was not involved at all in the design of the amplifier. And I'll tell you right now, it's very lightweight, so I'm curious how it's going to sound. But we're going to go ahead and do the G20 amp review first, and then we'll check out the fake version. Okay, so now let's check out the amplifier itself. So first of all, this is a lunchbox style high gain tube amplifier. It's switchable between 20 watts and 4 watts. But there's so much more to it than just being another low wattage tube amplifier. Honestly, there are a lot of amps like that on the market these days. What really sets this amplifier apart is all of the extra features it has, in particular the ones that make it really ideal for recording. It's got some really over-the-top cabinet emulation that's built right into the amplifier itself. I really want to highlight that in this review. You can run this amplifier as a traditional head plugged into a speaker cabinet. I've got a classic Marshall 4x12 right here. Or you can run it without any speaker attached at all and just use the cabinet emulation from the amplifier. Or you can run it where you combine both of those things. Let's say you're in a situation where you're playing at a live show and you want to have a nice loud stage volume, so you have the amp hooked up to a cab on stage. But then you can also run out of the back of the amplifier using the cabinet emulation. You can even emulate the same cab that you have on stage, and then you can run that like into a PA system. Now, right on the front panel here, we have a 6-position selector switch. So this amplifier will have built-in 6 different cabinet emulation voicings. I'll go through all of these when we get into the sound demo in just a little while here, but you'll be kind of shocked at how much of a difference it makes in the sound of the amplifier. But what's really crazy is if those 6 speaker cabinet emulation, sort of like speaker cabinet profiles, if those are not enough for you, you can load new cabinet emulations into the amplifier through the USB port in the back. Okay, so there's a lot of other really amazing features about this amplifier too that I want to go over, but let's just go ahead and give you guys some sound samples and you can really hear how this thing sounds. Now, real quick, guys, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool new gear, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. All right, now let's listen to how the amp sounds. Alright, so that amplifier sounded pretty amazing, but I want to hear how the Revv Fake Max amplifier sounds. So let's get this guy going right here, and we'll switch over this cable. Get these switched here. Alright, now let's hear how this amp sounds. I'm going to bring the mids up a little bit. Well, I gotta say, I'm a little bit bummed at the low output. I mean, you really have to concentrate to even hear it at all. You guys do hear it, right? Alright, well, if we can't hear it at all, there's not much more to say about it. But let's talk a little bit more about the G20. So we've got pretty standard controls up here on the front panel, including the channel switching button, which is right there. It's also got a headphone out jack right up front there. So you can use this thing, you can run it with headphones on and not even have the speaker hooked up. The amp also has an effects loop, and the amplifier is MIDI controllable. So if you have like a big pedal board setup and you want to do some more complicated patch switching, you can have it set up where you hit a certain patch and it'll change the effects on your board, and then it'll also change the channel that you have selected on the amplifier. And on the back, it's got an XLR output and a ground lift. You can even control the lighting on the amplifier. Crazy. So guys, I'm going to put a link in the video description below where you can read more about the amplifier and you can get even deeper into the technical specs of it. But to me, this is just sort of the ultimate modern recording amp. It's got all the modern features you want, but it still has like this classic, powerful, tube-driven tone. You know, the kind of tone that everybody likes to hear. 20 watts is plenty of power. It's totally usable in a live situation or in the studio. And don't forget, it's made right in the good old United Provinces of Canada. Alright guys, so like I said, I will put links for the amplifier in the video description below. I will also have links down there for my social media and my instructional material. And I will have a link down there for the Backing Tracks by Tim YouTube channel. It's a great YouTube channel that I've been, stealing a bunch of backing tracks off of, with permission, of course. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.